This is the Untitled Film Project Podcast with your hosts, Jeremy K. Gover, Justin Bradford, and I am Jim Chandler. Welcome to the show. Why is it called Untitled Film Project Podcast?
Because all the good names were taken.
Yeah, exactly. So we're talking about one of the best movies ever made 30 years ago. I'm guessing we're all still excited by the movie Jurassic Park. Dinosaurs!
I love dinosaurs. I think I still might have my flashcards from when I was a kid. Everyone got them, and then remember, they would say, oh, you know, for like $20 more, you can get 50 more flashcards.
No way.
Oh my gosh. It had pictures on them and all the stats and everything that end up now being out of date and wrong, but still, you memorize those. Every kid, right?
How many doubles did the Triceratops have in?
How many what?
Doubles. You said stats. Sports joke, sorry. Look, this is what you're going to get, buddy. All right? I mean, this is what you signed up for.
Stop trying to make sports into
we're talking
this
about the big
movie
pile
podcast.
of poop from the trike? Or what?
Stat.
That is one big pile. That's the stat.
Scat.
Dong.
Ding!
Thank you very much. So, Jurassic Park, Steven Spielberg, 1993, stars, Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Sir David Attenborough. We've got Jeff Goldblum. We have Samuel L. Jackson. Everybody's like, I didn't know he was in that.
Wait. Did you say David Attenborough?
I did, didn't I?
He creates documentaries.
He's the documentary guy.
Just want to make sure we had Santa Claus is in this one. Richard Attenborough.
His long-lost brother.
He did Miracle on 34th Street the same year.
This is true.
So just throwing that out there. Sorry to interrupt you, Sir Jimothy.
All right. Two very different people. I'm glad you corrected me before all of the internet.
I didn't want Twitter to come at you, man.
So, your experience watching Jurassic Park, when was the last time you saw it, Jeremy Gover?
Well, I just love watching this because, for two reasons. One, we got obviously the Jurassic World conclusion coming up.
Yep.
Of that saga, right? And then, but on top of that, I haven't seen this movie in 15 years.
Oh,
I know.
It's been a while.
Dude.
Yeah, hey.
Dude.
How many times have you watched it in the last 15 years, Justin Bradford?
Yeah, since I've watched it, how many times have you watched it, maybe?
I'd say at least 15. One time being in concert with the National Symphony.
Okay, so it's clearly one of your favorite movies of all time.
One of my favorite movies, and one thing, if it's on TV, I'll have it on. I'll watch it before coming in, so it'd be fresh as well, too. I just enjoy the movie so much.
Well, I enjoy the movie as well, but it doesn't have a high rewatch value for me. So therefore, like Castaway is a great example of a movie that I absolutely adored, but I would probably never watch again. Right. So Jurassic Park, I saw in the theater in 1993. I think it was summer of 1993 with my girlfriend Rochelle at the time, and it was just mind blowing. The fact that you could have dinosaurs be real and suspend all belief from the beginning that these, it looks like they took the Brachiosauruses and the T-Rexes and the Dilophosauruses out of a zoo somewhere, put them on a big African plain or something, and then they shot this movie with real actors. It's actually absolutely tremendous, and I will say that even 15 years later, meaning the movie's been 30 years, but I haven't seen it in 15, it still holds up like a new movie.
It does. It's because the real effects that they use, the machines they had to use for the T-Rex. One, because it's so humid, so they're having to keep it dry, so the skin's not like melting off and peeling away that they built this for. But also the animatronics, keeping it greased up, keeping it just in working order to do this. But that's what makes the movie so good today still, is that it was real and that it wasn't all computer based. That it was real things that you're seeing on the camera they're having to use real visual effects for, whether it's the shadowing with the lighting or using puppeteering, using big machines as well that are mechanical, like T-Rex was. That's why I think it helps hold up compared to things that where you had heavy CGI in like the early 2000s.
Sure.
The early aughts.
The aughts.
But that's what I think makes it hold up so well, is because it's real. It doesn't look like it's on a screen or looks like it's made by a computer, because it's still it's something real that was being used in production.
There was only, I think, 10 shots in the entire movie that were CGI. Everything else involved a rubber latex creature that was on set, and it still looks good.
And these are like I was telling you guys off mic that there was all the adult cast is absolutely flawless. The casting for all the adults was flawless.
But
well, that's another point later. The point is that how much better were their performances because they were interacting with real things.
Oh, yes.
As opposed to a green screen or, okay, well, pretend so-and-so is over here. And
right.
It's a really big
monster and it's scary. Yeah.
Well, I had a problem with the kids, but we'll get to that later.
I just want to dive in right in then. Let's go to the butt, which is when a film is so good, you've watched it so many times, like I have. You start finding little things that are wrong. You get nitpicky sometimes, and it's not like I'm trying to attack the film. It's more like, come on, Steven. How'd you miss that? You couldn't reshoot. You're running really close to the wire, right? So there's little things like that of continuity, or things that I know we were talking off mic as well too. Is like, what, there are things wrong with it? Like, yes, there are plenty of things that went wrong. They're like your cinema sin.
And it's kind of fun. So,
they're fun.
Yeah, nobody's saying this is a bad movie for any of those reasons, but there's nothing more fun. And I think this was an episode of Frasier when, Frasier's, talking to his brother. There's nothing more fun about going out to a restaurant. This is the best meal you've ever had, but you just nitpick about a couple little things.
Yes.
And that's the meal you remember.
Yes.
So
that's
this
an
movie,
excellent Kelsey Grammer impression, by the way.
It was awful. I don't know. I went through like 3 different accents.
I was trying to build you up. I was trying to build you up a little bit. Got to set the show, set the pace,
But Jurassic Park is one of those movies that, if we're going to find something wrong, it's going to be small.
Yeah.
Because it did so many things right.
Or large, like the big pile of poop from the trike. No, one of the big ones.
But I believed it was a real poop.
That's exactly my point.
No, there's nothing wrong with the poop. There's nothing wrong with the scat. One of the big ones for me, though, is the T-Rex paddock. Okay.
So go on.
Yeah. There was a goat. When the goat is served on a silver platter to the T-Rex, you're like, T-Rex doesn't want to be served. The T-Rex needs to hunt.
Right.
So the ground is level there. Level with where these Ford Explorers that are automated are.
Aren't they Jeeps?
I believe they're Ford Explorers.
Nitpicking.
Now you're making me second guess myself.
Right,
I believe they're Ford Explorers because of name placement and everything.
I got him.
You're pressing his button so bad.
So there's that's established. As well, there's what I like is there's a bit of foreshadowing here because the camera pans up and you see the lights flashing on the T-Rex paddock, which is like, something's going to happen with those.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah. So when they come back around, when the tropical storm, which only lasts like an hour, is hitting.
Have you been to Florida? It's pretty realistic.
But tropical storm, not just pop-up showers.
No, that's probably right.
That they were seeing on the radar with the clouds. Anyways.
There's one right there.
When they get right, when they get to this point, when they're returning and everything stops because the power goes out, and the T-Rex is entering through because the beams break with its little T-Rex arms. Sorry, I'm reminded of Meet the Robinsons and the T-Rex with, I have a big head and really short arms. T-Rex is pulling the things down. It is at ground level still with the SUVs. But when Timmy is stuck in the Ford Explorer and the T-Rex shoves it, is it a Jeep?
I don't know. I just wanted to say that. Go ahead.
Sound like the Roadrunner.
I don't even know anymore.
Sound like the Roadrunner. Jeep. When the T-Rex pushes the SUV out and into a tree, the sucker falls at least, 50, 75 feet.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So the T-Rex is not doing, there's not a trampoline down there for the T-Rex. It's boing, boing. Hello.
That'd be fun.
So there was
for the T-Rex.
There was no ravine in the first
segment. Yeah, you don't see ravine. Everything is equal. Everything's even with the ground.
I thought that was the opposite direction.
No, because the opposite side is where the lawyer hides in the outhouse for some reason, then he gets eaten.
Right.
Okay.
That's where Ian runs to with the flare.
I didn't see this. I didn't see what you're talking about here.
Yeah, so Ian runs it with the flare, and then
right. But I didn't. I thought that side.
No, just one side is the paddock. One side has everything else is like open area type of thing that is part of the tour that you can. There's an outhouse again for some reason, but the paddock
is from the 30s. Outhouse.
Yeah, an actual outhouse. He's just sitting on a toilet, and all of a sudden, I'm dead. But
lawyers.
But then you have Sam.
No offense to any lawyers.
Then you have Grant and Lexi, hanging by a wire over this ravine. So where is this? Why is this ravine there all of a sudden now when the exact same spot it was supposed to be level ground? Okay, and
you are
Timmy
really going nerd
Timmy
level
falls
deep on
this. But it makes people question when you see it multiple times. Like, wait, now why is there a ravine there?
It makes people question when you bring it up because I'm not.
No, this has been discussed multiple times.
Okay,
so many different places.
Yeah, were they with people that saw it? A couple of times, or
yes, it's been a highly sought after
somebody
topic.
who watches it every 3 days.
Highly sought after.
This has been discussed.
Are there
by
blogs on it?
Yes,
there's blogs about this.
Yes, it's a continuity error in the movie.
There was a short docuseries,
and I love
Amazon
this.
Prime,
this movie. I love it so much.
Jurassic Ravine.
But again, with
65 million.
When they discover, I hate both of you. When they discover, when you have Ellie.
Dr. Sadler, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Dr. Sadler, yes.
I know we're on a first name basis with
it. When they discover Ian,
yes,
and then they see the car down at the bottom of the ravine that should not have existed, they all of a sudden go down there very quickly, and then they hear the footsteps of the T-Rex coming, and Ian, we must move fast, faster. They make it all the way back up the ravine more quickly. Like, are we saying this was like a 5-minute round trip to the bottom of the ravine and up? Was there an elevator? Was there a quick staircase? Was there a fireman's pole? How did they get back up so quickly? And if that's the case, why did Grant, Lexi, and Timmy also not go back up quickly? Yeah, they're probably thinking, well, the T-Rex is up there. But after a while, the T-Rex would not be there, be exploring the rest of Jurassic Park to go see what it can kill next. That's just, I know it's nitpicky.
The amount of thought you put into these things that nobody else has ever.
No. Don't say nobody else. Plenty of people have.
If you ever wondered if we prepare for this show,
here's evidence.
This is Exhibit A.
This isn't just preparation for this show. I've always thought this. Aside from viewing it in the movies when I was a child.
You've been waiting your whole life to air.
By definition, you've been preparing for this show then.
Yes, I've been preparing my whole life for this show. Okay, another one. Another one then.
Well, I don't get to say one?
Go for it then. I was on a roll.
I didn't like the kids. There you go.
Jeremy K. Gover doesn't like children?
He hates kids.
I mean, if you want to make that leap, I suppose.
Okay.
But the casting for all the adults is flawless. Okay. We've already talked about everybody, but my point is that everybody is great in their spot. They play the character well.
They're in their prime.
Embrace the nuance of the characters. Yeah, they're in the prime of acting. They're not so famous like a Tom Cruise or a Jack Nicholson or a Harrison Ford, where you have a hard time not typecasting them into something. You actually, like, right when they come on stage, you're like, okay, Laura Dern is a scientist.
Yep.
Okay.
The Australian dude, he kills dinosaurs if they get out of control.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's not messing around, So you've got everyone kind of falls into place. But the kids, what is the one thing you want to see in a movie? When you go to see a movie, what is the number one thing you want to see? Break it all the way down, not like, oh, great story.
Fresh popcorn.
I want to escape.
Okay, the second thing then.
Things you can't eat. I want to escape.
Yeah,
I want to escape reality.
You want to avoid anything that will break the fantasy that you're watching something real.
Yes.
So that's exactly what the kids did to me. Every time the kids were on screen, except for maybe like the climbing up the electric fence scene.
They were pretty good at that.
Because, well, I don't know if they were very good at it, but I was lost in the drama of the situation.
Them being back at the Welcome Center was decent with her with the Jell-O. Decent reaction there.
Still looked fake. But she still like she was acting to me. I can do this right here in my. You can't see this on radio, but I can see this in my hand. I can.
But in the kitchen, I would say when they're actually, it looks like they're more in a real life situation.
I'll give you that. When the Velociraptors are going through the kitchen halls,
right? Because I think it was probably staged better for them to act more as well.
Maybe so. But my point is that other than those two scenes, every time the kids were on screen, I got reminded that I was watching a film. That there was actually acting going on, that it was not real. And that took me out of the movie, and that's why I can't give it. I know we'll get to our grades, but I can't give it a 10 out of 10.
I totally understand you're upset that a 9-year-old didn't bring the professionalism and experience.
All right, let me stop you right there.
Dern
let me stop you right there.
Sam Neill.
Let me stop you right there. If it wasn't possible, I wouldn't have a problem.
Jim's supposed to be our therapist.
If you go troll, well, if you take Anna Paquin from The Piano and Haley Joel Osment from The Sixth Sense, or even Drew Barrymore from E.T., whatever, and you put them in the correct age in those roles, we're not having this discussion.
Oh wait, hold on. Could Drew Barrymore from E.T. have done dramatic acting?
She's
at
pretty
that
damn
point,
good.
I know she's really good, but why are we discussing
Firestarter?
this?
Have you seen that?
Okay.
Not the crap reboot one that
But
just
I'm
came
just
out.
talking
The
about
other one,
the
the original
Drew Barrymore,
one.
the really
Right.
young Drew Barrymore would not
Yeah.
be of age to be in Jurassic Park either.
Okay.
It was an
But it's a
example.
hypothetical.
He dropped it.
Holy crap!
He did specify if they were the correct age.
I was trying to give another example that's not Anna
I like the
Paquin.
Anna Paquin one.
All I want to say is that right now, listening to the Untitled Film Project podcast, that there might be a kid, there might be an adult who is that actor listening to you criticize their performance from their childhood, and they're going to have to go back to their job at Enterprise Rental Car and think about this for the rest of the day and be sad.
We're not sponsored by Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
You made people sad, Jeremy. You made
But
people
Enterprise
sad.
Rent-A-Car, if you'd like to sponsor the show, we can
We can work out a deal.
work it out.
Work out a
I
deal.
can't
follow
believe
us at,
you're ripping these child actors.
Untitled
That's
Film
amazing.
Thank you. Well, I'm not ripping them. What I'm saying is the casting director should have done a better job with the kids. There are other
There
kids
you go.
out there.
Blame the actual adult in charge.
Yeah.
There you go.
There are
That's
other
better.
they probably acted the best of their ability with what they knew. But I'm saying
Bless
that there
their
are
heart.
other bless their heart. But there are other child actors out there that have done stuff that did not take me out of a film. The Sixth Sense is a great example. The Piano is a great example. I'm sure there's others if I really had time to think about it.
The children in Multiverse of Madness.
Okay. Now we're just reaching.
Now you're just being silly.
Yeah. There's it can happen is I guess what I'm trying to get at. It can happen. If the casting director had done
Sure.
a better job at casting those two parts, it would be a near
They
flawless
wasted their
movie.
budget on the adults.
Right?
Okay. Last time child actors commanded a huge paycheck, I don't know.
Macaulay Culkin.
He broke out in Home Alone. He didn't demand a huge paycheck
Home
for
Alone
that.
2. Home
Well, he
Alone
probably
2.
didn't demand a huge paycheck for that.
They probably did.
The Good Son is
Okay.
Sorry, this is a tangent.
Anyways.
Let's talk about some of the great things about Jurassic Park.
The
Okay.
adult cast.
Yes. Let's leave the children alone
I'm
and talk
sorry.
about the good parts.
I'm sorry about that.
So, is this the first movie, do you think, that probably planned out the merchandising, the amusement park rides, and everything else before the actual movie was made? Like where they said, okay, unlike Star Wars where they got caught and they didn't know people were going to like it and they didn't have anything made, this is one where they made 10 million, Welcome to Jurassic Park t-shirts like you see in the gift shop in the movie, and they set up the SUVs on the rail going through the park, and that's exactly what our ride is going to be, and we're going to build it at the same time. That this movie was the perfect merchandising, opportunistic summer blockbuster.
Which is impressive in that day and age, prior to social media, the world is still very, very big. It's not smaller like it is now, right? Where you can kind of get on Google Hangouts and talk to 20 different...
Google Hangouts?
Sorry. Find Zoom. We're not sponsored by Zoom, so if Zoom would like to sponsor the show, reach out to us at...
Google Hangouts?
I like Google Hangouts. The point is that...
At least you could have said Microsoft Teams.
We're on CompuServe.
No, I'm actually contractually obligated not to say that because my wife hates Microsoft Teams and she's forced to use them in the
Your
school.
contract is the ring on your finger?
I hate it too.
I mean...
I hate it like kids in a dinosaur movie.
Yes. Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate your support.
So they had the forethought.
I don't even know what I was saying anymore.
You were saying like they didn't have social media and everything. They didn't-
So,
But they had a
know.
major theme park as a Universal product.
Yes.
Right, but
So
what
they
he's
knew.
saying though is that it's ballsy
Oh, well,
to say, hey, we know we have a winner, so much so.
Well, the
We're
book
going
was
to
already
create
popular,
all this
too.
crap before it comes out
Yeah.
and be ready to go. That is ballsy.
It is. But you knew what you had because the book was so popular.
That's a good
The book
point.
was great.
And you
You've
had
got
Spielberg.
dinosaurs.
You had Spielberg heading it up. It's not like
Spielberg,
it's
at that point he has hit every
he's
summer
Midas.
movie out of the
He's
park.
Midas.
And
Yeah.
when you're promoting the film, you're not even worried about actors at that point. You're promoting dinosaurs.
That's a
And
good point
people
too.
had not
Yep.
seen dinosaurs.
Which is
in that-
actually a better
Yeah.
testament to an even bigger compliment to the film.
The
Yeah.
visual
Because
effects.
they could have been like, look, this is a movie about dinosaurs. We're going to hire any old actors we can. We don't care.
Right.
Instead, they went and hired good actors.
Yeah,
And
they
again,
did.
the adult cast,
which
was awesome.
weren't necessarily superstar
right.
that are going to demand, but they're going to fit the project
That's right.
very, very well.
That's
But
right.
the star of the show was the dinosaurs in
Yes.
terms of the marketing capabilities
Sure.
of this.
Yes.
Because people were buying T-Rexes. I had a T-Rex, the rubber one that had the action, like, pieces of flesh come out of it and everything, too.
That's
like,
cool.
Yeah, it was. Like, a little piece of flesh come out. Like, dino battle!
That was after
kind of thing.
That was after my toy time. But
Oh, my toy time went into a bad age.
Well, went till yesterday, actually.
It went away, and then it came back. I had Power Rangers toys up until like 8th grade.
All right, we need to get this back on the rails. Jimmy, can you please say that?
No. Okay,
toys from Jurassic Park, which is the movie we're talking about.
But how many people were buying like a Dr. Grant toy? They're buying dinosaurs.
Yeah,
people want dinosaurs were the star, and they knew that because it's marketable to so many different people. Because you'd get that prime age of a kid that it's PG-13. But you're getting an 11-year-old that still loves dinosaurs and into an adventure. It's like, this dinosaur is awesome. And adults are like, we're seeing dinosaurs on the big screen. Like, it was one of those things that's going to be very difficult for it to fail unless they just completely failed. And Spielberg was not going to fail.
Well, and I will say, you bring up a great point, actually, is that's it's almost 2 movies in one. Well, 2 genres in one. The first half of the film is adventure and discovery and
sense of wonder.
Yeah, sense of wonder. Yeah, thank you. A sense of fantasy and wonder. And then the second half is a borderline horror film.
It's a slasher movie.
Yeah,
it's a dino horror thriller, but it's not Velocipaster.
All right.
And thank God.
I'm going to stop talking.
Velocipaster. Somewhere somebody had a bingo card that when you said Velocipaster on this podcast at some point, they were going to win.
Congratulations to Gene from Pacoima.
Goes to a young fan from Shawinigan.
I like Pacoima better.
Please just, if you're on TikTok, type in Velocipaster and just watch that whole thread of TikToks.
It's
you just have to.
Yeah.
But seriously, that's... It does go into that, Jeremy, that... Wow, I called you Jeremy, said to go over. That just felt weird.
It does feel weird.
This feels weird to me.
I'll allow
but it does... It gives you that sense, too, where you're actually kind of holding on of what's going to happen next from the moment when Dr. Sadler is trying to just get the thing recharged and turn Jurassic Park back on. You know something's about to happen. The music cues you. The lighting cues you.
But the greatest thing about this, though, is that you don't know what it is.
No.
Because it could be multiple things.
Yes.
And that's the difference between... a trope is probably the wrong word, but a trope like that,
right?
Okay, and like maybe like a standard horror movie,
right?
Where you're like, okay, we all know the slasher is out there,
right?
And
you don't know
it's probably going to
90%
chance it's going to be that scare, right? Whereas it could be the Velociraptor, it could be
Dilophosaurus,
it could be Dilophosaurus. It could be Samuel L. Jackson's character. I think his name is Ray.
Yeah, there's
it could be.
of him.
It could be any number of.
He
things.
certainly has a part in that.
It could be the hunter. Remember who? He's not doing well.
Favorite
at this point, but I'm saying he could have survived and done
He's not doing well.
I mean,
we're being hunted.
Clever girl.
One of my favorite lines in a movie ever. Clever girl line, and then
yeah.
Okay,
but you're right. You're right, and it's because we don't see it. And one of the cool things about this movie was that most of it took place at night. Okay, so you have the awe and wonder stuff during the day, but really the scary stuff is at night. And so, first of all, the effects look more real when you got a darker set. So, so really it helps, but it also, our minds fill in the rest. Our imagination.
Dark and in the rain.
Yeah, your imagination is making a scarier monster that any CGI person could never create, right? And then when it comes, you are fully satisfied with this amazing visual effect.
Like I think I'm more scared of Dilophosaurus than I am a T-Rex.
So
because the big
looks cute.
Because
it looks cute at first, though.
Right.
Yeah,
but
almost
then
like
it fans out.
Playful.
Yeah, then it
cat
fans
sounds,
out.
Head tilt. Like,
Yeah.
And
then it kills
like,
Newman from Seinfeld.
And then it's like,
but
how will I kill you?
But I do have a nitpick.
I shall spit on your face.
But I do have a nitpick with Dilophosaurus. And
That's what Reggie told me. I call him Reggie.
Please,
he's a bad actor.
Reginald.
Like
Reginald he was discussed a little inappropriately.
Reginald D. Lophosaurus.
And you tell me not to go certain places? Reginald D. Lophosaurus?
I apologize for wasting
He's
your
got an
time.
amazing IMDb profile.
Oh my gosh.
You should check it out. The problem with this dinosaur,
and this is one of those very, very nitpicky things that I'm not sure if this can be used interchangeably, or it could be an editing thing, whatnot. They refer to the venom that Dilophosaurus spits, which is the black goo that is on Newman's face, as poisonous and venomous. Poison, typically you're ingesting it, you're touching it, Whereas venom deals with something like a snake. It bites you. It injects its venom into you. It is injected.
Against your will.
Against your will. Whereas poison, you could be food poisoning or poison ivy. It's something that is poisonous. It's not something that is coming from a living creature like that.
I am
like
all
this.
for continuity, but this is ridiculous.
This is
come on.
This is a nerd level.
Yeah,
like
it is.
This
but people but scientists and biologists would appreciate, I think, it being right.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. If they went so far as to, and it was in the book, but if they went so far as to research that frog DNA was used to fill in the gaps in the
dino DNA.
Yeah, that. It was a Funko Pop at Target, by the way. Neither here nor there. It's just really weird. If they went so far as to put the frog DNA in there to fill in the gaps, and frogs have been known in certain species, to migrate male to female depending on their environment. If they know that and go to those lengths, I will admit that you are correct. They should probably know the difference between venom and poison. But I will also say that it's very minor. That's my point.
It's super minor. Like as dinosaurs are big, that is so minor.
Are you? Is that taking you out of the film?
No.
Okay.
Again, I've said I love the film, and it's just a minor nitpick. It is just a minor nitpick because when you see it so many times, little things start to stand out to you more because you know what you enjoy.
Maybe you should be like me and only watch it every 15 years.
Maybe
I shouldn't be like you because you have really crappy takes on movies.
Justin, what he's just saying is leave the house sometimes.
Okay, but here's the thing, too. What I've seen in the Jurassic World previews is we're seeing an evolution in the science of dinosaurs because they're putting feathers on dinosaurs because they've have recent discoveries
which they talked about in Jurassic Park.
About them evolving to birds, but they did not really mention that they had feathers then. They mentioned evolution.
No, but they mentioned on several occasions in the film, Dr. Grant specifically says they're more like birds than reptiles.
Right, but what they've recently discovered, and again, this is not supposed to be a scientifically accurate movie. It's just little things here and there because a velociraptor did not exist. It was not an actual thing. They made it up for the film and for the book. Don't give me that look.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
All right, you know what?
Go on
with your little point. I'm going to.
But feathers, that so many dinosaurs, because of the relation to birds too, so many dinosaurs actually did. But it's difficult to see that in research when you only have bones. It's really difficult to infer that.
You're the little boy actor that Jeremy hates talking about dinosaurs from his flashcards.
It's a Gallimimus.
I just had a floating above my own body moment, and I realized you are that kid.
Oh, yeah, I'm a nerd. I'm a geek.
Velociraptor, meaning swift Caesar in Latin, is a genus of a word I cannot pronounce, theropod dinosaur that lived approximately 75 to 71 million years ago. Suck it, Velociraptor hater. That is a real thing.
No.
If you're thinking about the other one in Jurassic World where he puts the Velociraptor and the T-Rex together, that's not real.
Well, I know that.
But the Velociraptor is absolutely a real dinosaur.
Okay.
He just had like a kid who found out something about Santa Claus moment. You crushed him. Jeremy just hit.
And they also had feathers.
In the heart.
The way the Jurassic Park puts them out there is not real. It's not supposed to be real. No, because at the moment they didn't exist then. They became to exist later.
They just created their own dinosaur and then it was right?
It was not called Velociraptor, but yes.
Dude.
It fit the narrative.
It's on the Googles.
Oh my God.
From millions of years ago. But in an effort to move the Untitled Film Project podcast forward.
It was also in the Cretaceous period, not the Jurassic period.
Oh, well, it was fake 5 seconds ago, so I don't know what.
I'm just saying.
Well, why does it have a period all of a sudden?
You two, go to your separate corners for just a second. Okay.
I'm going to go over here to the Industrial Revolution where there were no Triceratops until.
That's when Jim was born.
Fair enough. Those of you that had approximately 29, 30 minutes into the podcast, when would they make fun of Jim's age? You win. Again, another bingo card.
It's the over-under. Over-under, and we went way over this time.
All right. Spielberg trope that I noticed. He does in all his movies, at least in the early ones, that he does in this one, is he loves to show the actors looking at the amazing thing. So if you think, okay, you've got Sam Neill ripping off his sunglasses, you've got them peering out of the Jeep, and they're holding themselves up higher so they can see the dinosaurs out on the range even more. But you don't see the dinosaurs yet. You just see people staring in wonder, which is probably happens more in this movie than any of his other movies, like they do in like E.T.
Rightfully so.
Right. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. There's all these people gathering, and they're all looking up at the white light like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And then they get to the dinosaur in this movie. So he definitely is in key people looking up at stuff Spielberg mode.
But I will say that's a real dangerous playground to be in, because I know it's Spielberg and he's like a boss.
Is dangerous, though, the right word?
Yeah, yes, because if you are not the director that Spielberg is, and you decide to create a sense of wonder pre-reveal
through the eyes
for
of
the audience,
yes,
it better be good, because it can ruin the rest of the film if you're wrong.
So it shouldn't look like what a real velociraptor looked like, which is about 1.5 feet tall
with feathers,
apparently.
And a boa. It was a feathered boa.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. I'm a velociraptor.
Keep going with that. What are you going to rhyme with that? What are you going
No. But
it's ballsy. Is my point.
But I'm sure it has to do with budget as well, too, in terms of the more screen time you give to things, the more expensive it's going to be, because typically it's going to be an effect, what you're looking at.
But it's pulling
you have to build up the drama.
Though.
But you have to build up the drama to it, so it does.
I totally agree.
Agreeing with you. Like that's what it has to deliver on it. But because of the expense for what you're looking at too, if you can build up that drama, it delivers bigger instead of just bam, there's a dinosaur.
There it is.
Yeah, but you when you build it up with
hello, my baby. Hello.
So when you do that, though, it does build up the anticipation and drama to where you have it on screen for a limited time, but it makes that limited time mean that much more.
I agree with that. I'm just simply saying that the pattern that Jimmy's bringing up of Spielberg doing
it's a gamble,
an awe thing. Now, again, he's got a formula, right?
Yes,
it works, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, if you're just a normal run-of-the-mill director and you try to build that in your film, it better pay off real quick.
If you're going to
because if it's a letdown, you're in trouble.
Yeah, it's going to suck.
Yeah. So, is there a moment that you can think of off the top of your head? This is obviously not prepared, or something like that hasn't delivered, where a moment was built up and it didn't deliver?
If I thought about that, I probably could come up with
Jurassic Park, I can't think of one.
No, not Jurassic Park. I think it's
in anything.
Any movie.
I mean, there's certain directors that can pull it off. Obviously, Spielberg.
For sure.
So I think it's a good gamble. Like, it's a good bet.
Yeah, no, for him it is. I'm just simply saying the practice of doing that. If you're an aspiring film student listening to this show and you want to create the sense of awe for your audience and you choose to do it this way, my point is you better be swinging for the fences and connect.
And not
That's
be
all I'm saying.
Velocipaster, where it just says big explosion on the screen.
All right, quickly go around the room. What's your grade? Or not grade, sorry. What's your number? What's your score?
My score? 9.5 out of 10.
9.5.
Justin goes 9.5.
That's
okay.
All right.
Well, not surprising because you've seen it so much. I am going to go 9. I'm going to go 9.
I am also going to go 9.
Yeah. If it, I mean, it's got a summer blockbuster. Things are dumbed down a little bit, over-explained a little bit. If it wasn't that, I'd give it a 10. Like, it's so close to being a 10.
So if they had Poisonous and Venomous, right?
And better kid actors.
Yes.
Hey, just want to throw out there, you said dumb down and explain. So throwing it right back at you.
Yeah, I wanted it realistic, more of like a, heartfelt drama of somebody trying to make it in New York City. With feathers. I'm sorry.
But we want to know what you all think. Yeah. Obviously, most of you have seen it probably enjoyed it. But what are some of your favorite moments? What are some of those nitpicky moments? There might be things that maybe we didn't see in this film in terms of nitpicky of what just bothers you. Even if you love the film, what's a nitpicky moment that you found in there? And do you agree with some of the ones that we had?
We want to have an open conversation with you on our social media channels. You can follow us at
Untitled Film Project on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you interact with us, and we'll make sure we get a TikTok channel going too.
Oh boy,
Grover's gonna do dances.
I would love to hear from somebody who hates Jurassic Park.
That would be great.
Tell us why, or somebody who saw it and after everybody told them it was great and said it didn't live up to the hype. So all opinions are invited, please.
All right. It's time for another question. Jeremy K, the K stands for knowledge, apparently. Gover.
Not about music scores.
Has a question for us to decide.
But it does on this one. So, guys, I have been super excited all day to spring this on you. 3 movies you wish you could have seen in the theater.
I got one easily on that
all right.
one.
All right.
Wow.
Are we talking movies that because it came out before you were born?
Sure.
Or is it movies that you just I saw that on cable or I streamed it?
Oh, God.
And
I'd like to see it without commercials, please.
I missed it. It was one of those movies you discover because you didn't go see it in the theater, but you found out it was great and then you streamed it.
This comes from the sensation of seeing a blockbuster film recently on opening night.
Okay.
You get caught up in the celebration, in the surprises, in the emotion of it all.
The audience
with
around you.
80, 90, 100 other people, right, for a bigger film,
Sure.
right? The laughter is contagious, as you guys all know.
Yeah.
If you've seen, you go watch a comedy or whatever, it's contagious. It's funnier for some people. So when I think back to certain films, I'm like, man, I wish I could have had. Now, in fairness, movies have evolved. The movie-going experience has evolved. So
Right.
Sure.
there hasn't been a lot of celebrating the end of a film, like clapping, right, in the 80s. Okay? When you went to see E.T., for example, you weren't standing ovation. Whereas now, if you went and saw Spider-Man No Way Home, I was in a theater with a standing ovation.
Wait, did you see E.T. in a theater?
That's my first movie I ever saw.
Okay, what do you remember about it?
Nothing. My parents had to tell me about it.
What are we paying you for?
My point is I was 7, or not even that, actually. I was probably 5.
Write it down. Save something. Jeez, think ahead.
So my
Justin
point
with
is,
the jabs.
my point is that
Okay.
Movies have changed, but just with the sensation of seeing it in the theaters, we all know, is totally different than seeing it at home.
For sure.
So therefore, I've tried to stall and vamp long enough to give you time to think. What are your 3 films that you'd love to have seen in the theater?
Okay, this is Jim, and I'm stammering to say, okay, the first one, this was so easily one I wanted to see in a theater. The second, I saw it in a film course in college.
Oh.
Okay? Because
Debbie Does Dallas.
Were we in the same class?
Porky's.
Oh my God, you're right. Oh my God. Yes, that was my second favorite.
Okay.
No, I had seen 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, yeah.
I'd seen it on television, right? But then you study it, and then the one film class I took in college where they're starting to show you what Stanley Kubrick did, okay, and appreciate what's in a movie, and then I'm going, oh my, to be in the theater with these images as big as you can imagine, even there's things in that movie where you see Dave, the astronaut, who's off on the mission, and there's reflections of all the instrumentation that he's in, this shuttle, right? And the way they reflect off him, and I'm like, that professor's explaining, oh man, can you see the technologies engulfing him? And I'm thinking, oh my God, this one still shot was a thing of beauty. To see it on a big screen, I would pay a lot of money. So, Time Machine.
That's a solid one. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah,
you want to keep going around the horn, or do you want to?
Let's go to Justin.
Okay.
Yeah. What's the first one that pops up for you?
I mean, the first one that instantly, as soon as go over, said Star Wars: A New Hope, which then was just Star Wars. I mean,
yeah,
because I was not alive then, and then obviously as a kid growing up, but still the way that Star Wars changed science fiction and cinema and fantasy and all of that with the special effects and everything, just based on how that 70s show wrote about it, or how the Goldbergs addressed it, any of these nostalgia style shows, on how it changed everything and how movies are so seeing that on a big screen and seeing a movie that's for nerds, for geeks, a movie that's made for me on the big screen and being successful and everything, even if it might have had cheesy lines and things like that, but just the fantasy about it and the science fiction behind it, seeing that in a movie theater, that's not a re-release, but the original, not the stupid Lucas added digital,
not the Lucas 17 iterations.
Yeah, but Star Wars, that's the number one for me. Number one, I will rank that. That is number one.
A New Hope is on my list when I thought of this.
Okay, Jeremy shares the opinion.
I was 2 months old.
Okay.
So you didn't take notes.
No. But I agree with you on that as far as the scope of everything. For me, even though I was 1 month old and wouldn't have cared, I'm also including putting myself into the era. Okay?
Okay, yeah.
So if 1977 comes around and I'm 20, 25, 30, even 40 years old, going to that film to see the grand scale of everything where the ships look real and the planets look real and they have
Jeremy,
all that.
Let me tell you, as an 11-year-old boy that I was, little Jimmy was going to the movies and heard there was a pretty cool movie coming out. When the very first Star Destroyer enters the screen from the top of the screen, and you see the enormity of that craft.
Yes.
And you have never seen a spaceship ever even approach the size of that thing. You literally were like, I was on a thrill ride, okay?
And it's the opening scene.
Yeah.
I hear the music playing. That's what.
Yeah.
So
You
it's
just recognize it.
that's exactly my point. So to see that scope and those images and it's so real, like it seems so real. That would be for that day and time, especially where like hadn't really been approached yet, like that kind of technology. That just is tremendous to me.
There's no right and wrongs, but that is absolutely right.
That is.
Subjectively, that is right.
All right, Jimmy, let's get your.
You couldn't have
second
made
one
Jim's list because he saw it.
Right.
I
theater,
did see
so-
it.
That's
there.
right. That's
I
right.
saw it 11 times in the movie theater.
Really?
First run.
Oh, so that does not count the re-release.
That probably cost $11 total.
Oh, yeah, probably.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah, it was probably about $1.25 to get to the movies. So
Dang, I'm good.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. Anybody that wanted to go hadn't gone, I went with them.
That was me with any of the Avengers Endgame.
yeah. So I mean, it was definitely. I feel very privileged to have seen it. The other one that I think I would like to have seen in the movie theater itself. My son bought it on Blu-ray. Ready Player One.
Okay.
Not a great movie, in my opinion.
Especially if you're a fan of the book. I enjoy the
Right.
movie, but if you're a fan of the book, people hated it.
I did not read the book, but I know fans of the book that were very disappointed. I just thought it wasn't that great of a movie. But technically, sound-wise, visually, the CGI, the 100 Easter eggs on the screen at one
all the
time
time.
that I see at home, I know is just a fraction of what's probably up on the big screen theater, the IMAX, or any one of the specialty viewing theaters. I think that would have been just a treat for the eyes.
Yeah, I like that, Jim. I like that because I like how you picked a movie that wasn't necessarily overly popular and has been a little bit
maligned.
Yeah, people don't know, even though they're making another one, they're making Ready Player 2 as well. But I like the movie. I thought it was fun just as a geek and seeing the nostalgia and the Easter eggs and everything too. And I was trying to do my best to separate it from the book, and it's very difficult to do that because I had to update it from the book because the book's old.
Right.
So they had to update it for this day and age. So I can definitely appreciate
the
that.
tech
Jim.
had to change.
Yeah.
All right, Justin, you're number 2.
All right.
If you've had time enough to think about it, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The guy who brings the question.
Well, he said right when I gave him the question, he said one. Like right off the bat, he was like, I think of one. So
okay, the other one is Indiana Jones: Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay.
So that one right there.
2 George Lucas films already.
I know.
Is there a theme developing here?
No. I promise the third one is going to be very different for me.
Okay.
But also John Williams scored. But this one also was different because of the way it changed adventure films as well on the screen. Harrison Ford and just the adventure and everything. I mean, I can only imagine what it was like for so many kids wanting to be Indiana Jones and go on adventures and having a whip and having
go play in the field behind their house and
go
see if
trying
they
to discover
things.
And want to travel the world and everything like that too. So it opened up a whole new world for adventure, and I liked how it was set decades in the past as well, because they didn't have to do something that was up to date right then. They're looking at something that already happened historically.
Right. It's an era.
It helped. It helped so much as they continued to progress in that trilogy. Or I mean, do we really want to include the Crystal Skull?
No.
Okay, in the original trilogy of Indiana
don't.
Jones, how it was able to progress through that as well too. So I would have loved to have seen that just because of what it did again for adventure cinema.
Justin, I'm just wondering, is the third movie on your list also a George Lucas movie starring Harrison Ford?
Nope, it is not. It definitely is not.
It's American Graffiti.
All right.
So my second one is actually it's I'm cheating a little bit.
All right.
Okay. The answer is Pulp Fiction.
Jeremy goes.
Listen.
Tarantino. Okay.
I know, but here's why. I was a senior in high school.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine, Dan Chase, shout out to Dan, haven't talked to him in like 20 years, but hey, shout out to Dan. He could not shut up about how great Pulp Fiction was. And I was like, okay, I didn't have any interest, but he will not be quiet about it. I got to go see it. And so one weekend I went and saw it with my girlfriend at the time, and I got about halfway through. And I was like, I don't understand anything that's going on. These stories don't make any sense. They don't connect at all. This is ridiculous.
Tarantino in a nutshell.
Right. Well, right, but it's only a second film.
But I
didn't know, and I had never seen Reservoir Dogs.
You didn't know.
So I didn't know that was
eventually these paths are all going to cross.
So we left the movie halfway through.
Oh.
And we went and did something else.
You left a film?
I'm getting to that. So I get back to school, whatever the next day, whether it was the next day or Monday, whatever. And I told Dan, I was like, what did you see about that movie? It was terrible. And he goes, did you stay to the end? I was like, why would I? It was like 2 hours and a half or whatever. And he's like, you got to stay to the end. And I was like, I don't want to stay to the end. It was awful. How good could it be? He's like, trust me. So I rented it on VHS, and I saw.
Be kind, please rewind.
And I saw, and I watched the whole thing, and it was a masterpiece of cinema.
Yeah.
And it changed how I watch movies. And to this day, no matter how bad the film is, I will not leave early because of that one film in the mid-90s.
Okay.
Well, I didn't know something, but your movie takes still suck.
So that, if you've been listening to the show for any length of time, that doesn't surprise you.
You've seen him on social media at any length of time.
So Pulp Fiction.
Take over. How hot was the girl that you were with that you wanted to leave early to do whatever happened after that movie with that girl? To snog, as they say.
Snog?
In Harry Potter.
Get with the program, bro. Come on.
I'm going to leave that alone.
All right.
Yeah.
Your wife wouldn't appreciate it.
Well, no, it's not about that. I just don't like thinking of her. So Pulp Fiction.
If you are Jeremy's ex and you're listening, please call us.
I guarantee you she's not listening. The Pulp Fiction is my second answer because of that. I wish I saw it in the theater all the way through. So I'm kind of cheating in the sense that I did see it, but I didn't. And then I saw it again, and I was like,
it's a great story and a lesson learned.
It is. Very much a lesson learned. Yep. So, Jimmy, third one?
Wow. I'm having a real hard time with this one, but I'm going to say this one for what you talked about is being around other people laughing. So this is Spinal Tap.
Oh,
the original rockumentary, right? Okay. So obviously I did not see it in the theaters. It never made it in theaters. It made like $4. Okay. And then
how many pounds did it make?
Internationally, it made $9. But everybody discovered that movie after the fact. And they go, oh my God, this movie about this fictitious band is genius. And I would have loved to have been in an audience, surrounded by people who all get it, all see those silly, rock era tropes played out by one band, and how absolutely brilliant that movie was. And I miss that, having that group chuckle.
I got to see the three guys. This is Spinal Tap. I got to see those guys in concert, unplugged and acoustic at the Ryman.
Wow. You are a lucky man.
Unbelievable. The musicianship was real. It was so great. Anyway, sorry.
All right,
Justin, why are you apologizing?
Well, because I cut you. I didn't want to.
You didn't cut me. I'm going to need you to realize you only cut me off if I was actually talking.
I know, but fine. I circumvented what your number 3 film is.
Not really. It was relative. You were talking about Spinal Tap.
It's all good. Justin, so what is it? Okay. Yeah. What's the movie you want to see in theaters that you didn't?
Let's see your reaction to this one. The Wizard of Oz.
Oh. Interesting choice. For the same reasons as Star Wars, I imagine.
Changed cinema as the first major. I mean, there was a 9-minute one that was like 1908 or something like that. That was a British film that was in color.
But of course, everybody knows about
how many pounds did that make?
The sound that Jim just made is what I imagine the instruments are going to sound like at the World Cup coming up.
I just Cuban vuvuzelas.
Yeah.
But The Wizard of Oz, major production in color, in Technicolor. And so to see,
that's true.
to be in an audience that has been so used to seeing black and white films and have that transition happen.
And it happens in the movie.
In the movie.
Right. It doesn't start in color and then you kind of lose that moment. You actually...
And obviously, no social media.
Yeah.
Yep.
You probably had reviews and everything too, but how many of the audience probably understood that? Just, I want to go see this because I heard so many great things, or it's the first one, but you don't realize the transition is coming the way it is.
That's a good point.
And everything too. So the shock value of that, granted, I'm sure audiences were different back then still, but imagine being in that time, you still have the as soon as she lands in Oz and what it looks like all in color.
That's a great choice.
That's why I went with that.
All right, that's really good. That beats probably any change moment that we have ever lived.
Oh, yeah.
In movies.
Oh, for sure.
Okay? And we've seen a lot of cool stuff. But, yeah, that was a game changer.
And I feel like I shouldn't even say my third one now because that's so good.
Oh, well, thank you guys.
Mine's purely selfish, and it's I don't even know if it was even in theaters, maybe limited run or something. But the documentary Pond Hockey is up there.
I didn't see it.
It's a very personal take, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, because for those who don't know, there's a pond hockey documentary that chronicles the first ever outdoor pond hockey championship tournament.
Jim was there for it.
And
yes.
The age jokes keep coming.
Yes. I babysat a lot of the kids.
Yes, yeah.
While the adults could go play in
under
that.
30 division was babysat by Jim. It was so great, and it made me want, like, it's a documentary, and it's single-handedly, even though I'm watching it at my house on DVD, not Blu-ray, DVD at the time when it came out, and it made me want to go play outside. The movie did.
Is that what inspired you? Because for those that don't know, all three of us have played pond hockey together.
In the Pond Hockey Championships.
In the Pond Hockey Championships in Minnesota. Is this what inspired you to want to do that as a group?
Exactly what inspired me.
That's awesome.
So on a previous life, on a podcast I had, we were going to interview the director. Okay? And so I had to do my, you got to do your research, right? You can't just wing it. Right. And they sent us an advanced copy of the document. Yeah, that's true. The document, especially with musical scores. They sent us an advanced copy on DVD, and so we got to watch it early. And it had me emotional in the sense that it wasn't like crying like that, but it was emotional in the sense that, like, I have to do this before I die. Like, it was that much of a pull.
It became a bucket list.
And you did it multiple times before.
And I did it 3 times.
Die long time from now.
Yeah, yes.
Right, nice.
Yeah, hopefully not.
No regrets when you pass, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I've done what I need to do, which is play outside. So, Pond Hockey, the documentary is, by the way, again, I don't know if it was in theaters at all ever, but that is one that I wish I could have seen.
It has a personal connection for you.
On that grand scale.
I totally understand that. I think it's totally fine to follow the Wizard of Oz because that is a personal.
Well, Wizard of Oz, Pond Hockey, it's a little bit
because this
different.
question is what we want.
That's
so
a good
it is
point.
selfish.
That's
so you say selfishly, it is supposed to be selfish. It's what we want to appreciate.
And I would love to hear what your 3 movies that you wish you saw in a theater are, because a lot of people either can't get to the theater and they watch it out of just convenience at home.
Sure.
They wait for it to stream because they don't want to pay the money. Other people, like myself, and I'm sure like you guys as well, will find every excuse ever to go to the theater. And most of the movies I watch at home are repeats. Like I know I liked that movie, so I'm going to watch it again.
I'm truly curious about the responses because it will depend on the era that you grew up in, I think, too, and what's going to determine that and your taste in movies.
So let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
This has been our take on Jurassic Park almost 30 years later. I'm Jim Chandler.
I'm Justin Bradford.
I'm Jeremy Gover.
And this is the Untitled Film Project Podcast. Why is it called that? Because
all the good names were taken.